What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Make your next thing a big one. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, I have Jennifer Miller Alvarado out of North Carolina and beyond. She's I can't put her in one box. Country music with some pop. Yeah, she'll sing it all. She'll put on a show for you. So stick around. We're going to talk in the next few minutes, and you're going to learn a little bit more about Jennifer Miller Alvarado. I know, I'm saying it like any newscaster should when you put the emphasis on the Spanish names. All right. This week's shows, I have two public shows just for you. You asked for them, you got them. Friday night, I'm at my usual Friday night gig. It's the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. The Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. They got 10 diamond-style pool tables. In fact, they have a pool tournament on Friday night. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, you check out the Rab. They got a full bar. They got the kitchen. Good food. The more you eat, the more you can drink. Don't look it up. It's science. Don't look that up. Just trust me. All right. Look it up. All right. Don't drink too much. Drink responsibly. And of course, like I said, karaoke. You're the stars of the show. It's a little concert starring each and every one of you. That's from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM on Friday night. That's the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. R-A-B. And then on Saturday, Little Rock, Arkansas, you asked for it. You got it. Now, the Friday night show is 21 and up, but the Saturday night show at Mr. Brew's Tap House in Little Rock, Arkansas at the Park Plaza Mall, that's all ages. You know, so if the kids are there, we keep it PG. If the kids leave, who knows? Who knows what could happen? Anything can happen, and usually does. They got 48 different types of beer. If you partake, they have great food. Oh my gosh, it's like gourmet food. It's so delicious. So come on out to Mr. Brew's Tap House from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. on Saturdays. Every Saturday night, they're going to have karaoke, video dance party. Come out and play with your friends and sing your little heart out. Always a good time. That's my newest show, and I'm so stoked to be in Little Rock because you've been asking for it, and I'm so happy that I can give it to you. So bring the kids, okay? Bring the whole family. Bring Grandma. I want to hear her sing too. Bring Grandpa. I want to hear him sing. Uncle Joe. That's Mr. Brew's Tap House at the Park Plaza in Little Rock, Arkansas from 6 to 10. So excited. 2 public shows just for you, my loyal listener. All right, let's get into it with Jennifer Alvarado. I got her on Zoom, so if you're listening to the audio version, check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN. Zooming Jennifer Alvarado now. My daddy doesn't like you, no. Oh, yeah. As a daddy, that's the one that resonated with me.
Oh, okay.
Jennifer Miller Alvarado. You know how Anglo, I don't care how Anglo the broadcaster is, when they say a Spanish name, they're going to put the emphasis on it. Oh, yeah. It's going to be Jennifer Miller Alvarado. But I know Spanish broadcasters do the exact same thing. They do. Oh, yeah. They'll say, vámonos a tomar una Coca-Cola clásica. Coca-Cola Classic. So what's up, Jennifer Miller Alvarado? Been excited to talk to you since we set this thing up. Let's do this. What are you up to?
Working, just gigging, and trying to get music out and trying to figure out what I'm doing with everything. So,
working and gigging. Yeah, you put the list out for April. You do more things in April than most people do all year long. You've put out something almost daily. Somebody can come out and see a Jennifer Alvarado show. Why? Why you work so hard? Why you putting the Guitar Diva 12? Guitar Diva 12? We'll get to that in a second.
Okay. Yeah.
But why so hard? Why not just work once a week, maybe twice?
I think, number one, I love this. Sorry, hold on, let me...
No, I just had an idea. Bing!
Okay. I love this for the first... that's the first reason. And then secondly, you've got to work at this. You've got to do the grind to... you've got to put in the hours of learning what you're doing and perfecting what you're doing and honing your craft. And, I think I also have a fear of, settling. I don't want to settle or take my foot off the gas at any point because, you never know when it's going to dry up and you're not going to be able to keep doing this. So I think as long as I can, I will. So.
Well, this is a job that you can do till they put you in the ground. Talking into microphones.
I hope so.
Yeah, talking into microphones is something I've been doing for so long. I've been doing it longer than I haven't been doing it. And I appreciate someone who, in your words, hones their craft. Whenever I say something like that, I always cringe a little bit. My craft. Yeah, I guess that is a craft. It is your work. It is your nom de plume, your thing that you're working on to perfect. But you will never perfect it. No. What about the thought of that? You'll never perfect your craft.
That's okay. I think my whole focus is be better than I was yesterday. Whatever that means. And so, yeah, I don't expect to ever be perfect. That's not going to happen. I am human. I'm not perfect. But I think that every day you're supposed to grow and you're supposed to go that, even if it's 1% extra, you need to do that. And so I think, I don't know, that's just how I approach it. That's how I've approached songwriting and everything that I've done is try to do it at the best level you possibly can. Is it going to be perfect? No. But make sure that when you go out there to do it, you're giving your all and not just, especially when it comes to doing something for other people. Don't give them half of you. Be focused and give all of yourself to that. So
yeah, some artists will do it for themselves and some will actually think about the people that got up off their couches and away from their big screen TVs and got babysitters and went out to see a Jennifer Alvarado show. But some people are pretty selfish and they go, well, I'm just here for me. The people that show up, that's just a bonus. But anybody that peruses, and I'm so sorry that I've seen your videos come across my screen, and I know I've played them before, and I know I've listened to them before, but I just subscribed to your YouTube, and yeah, you've been doing this at least the last 12 years. Anybody that peruses your YouTube page can clearly see you're going to get a good show. You have the power by yourself or with friends. You're going to get a good show. And you say guitar. All right, I'm going to go with Guitar Diva 12. Were there 11 other Guitar Divas, or did you figure out you were Guitar Diva at 12 years old?
So that actually came from my AOL screen name that I created when I was 12 years old. So yeah, that was my AOL email address from long ago. And when I signed up for like Twitter and all that, or now X, like that's what it was. So like that, it's just kind of followed. Like,
Hey, it's good. That's branding. That's long time branding. Yeah, I was. Let's see. Well, I was Break Dancer. I think that was the first AOL or the first screen name that I had when I had a computer. It was way before AOL for sure. But Break Dancer, because back in the 80s, that's back in the 1900s, I was somewhat of a break dancer. Not a great one, but I knew how to use the cardboard, and I did have parachute pants. So I'm not embarrassed to say that. And then Dancing Danny G came shortly after that. So everybody's got different names that they go by. But for the most part, people are calling you Jennifer Alvarado. It's good to go by your name. I know Schwarzenegger had problems when he was first trying to break into the movies. His first movie back in '69, Hercules in New York, they called him Arnold Strong. And his co-star was Arnold Stang. So the name similarities were crazy, but people thought, oh, you're not going to be able to pronounce Schwarzenegger. Nobody's ever going to be able to say that. And Alvarado, for some people, I think that would be a difficult name. I'm half Cuban from Miami, so I think I've got it down. But
I think you've got an upper hand on that, yeah. But you would be surprised. Usually, I get like Alvarez or some form of something. I don't know. So I'm just like, I mean, that's honestly why I started just going by avocado at sometimes, because, and that's where like my avocado thing came from. Like when I say my avocados, because some of my friends call me Avocado. Like, that's my nickname. And so I just went with it.
I'm okay with that. I like a nice guacamole. I think one of the, was it Graham or one of the guys that was in Florida, and I'm a Florida boy. I know I'm in Arkansas now, but I'm from Florida. And a lot of, but there was one, I guess he was running for president, and he famously had a recipe for guacamole. Oh, it might have been the Mormon that was from Mexico. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. Anyway, but he had a recipe for guacamole. Now, I'm from Miami, and I know a lot of the Cubans. My brother in particular, and my one of my best buddies went to North Carolina. What is it about North Carolina that people seem to migrate there? Is there good stuff happening in North Carolina? I know, Jennifer Alvarado, that's good enough reason to go to North Carolina to go see a Jennifer Alvarado show. But what is there good in North Carolina that people keep migrating there? Now, the two of them are no longer there. My brother's in Walla Walla, Washington, and my best buddy who was there is I think he's a spy. Some kind of federale in D.C. or Virginia, something. I don't even know if I should say that, but he's been on the podcast, so I'm going to spill his guts, spill the beans about everything. But but what is there good in North Carolina?
I think the fact that you have like the coast, and then you have the foothills and all that kind of stuff, but you've got the mountains, so you sort of got like all these different places that you can go and travel to, and it's sort of like I don't know. I think that some people like the mountains, and also let's be honest, like it's a lot cooler in North Carolina than Florida. So I think part of it is like, because I have a lot of friends that live in Florida for like half the year, and then they migrate up to North Carolina for like the summer months because it's cooler, and then they go back to Florida. So I mean, I think that that's probably a lot of the reason is the weather. Now, I will say that I feel like this year we've already had the heat wave come. Like the other day it was like 90 degrees. Well, of course I went to South Carolina for a show, but it was like 90 degrees, and I was like, it's March. Like, this is stupid. Like, what are we doing? So, I mean, but I think for the most part we are a little cooler than Florida.
Yeah, the weather's been odd lately, and here we are talking about the weather like two old chums that have known each other for years. I experience all 4 seasons in one day sometimes here in Central Arkansas. But in Miami, it was wet or more wet. No, there was a lot of rain, I guess in Key Largo, there's less land mass, so it's harder for the rain to get down there. So in the Florida Keys, I had a good time. There was sun. People say, you were talking about beaches. The beaches are kind of natural, so you don't want to step on the cut up coral rock or you'll cut up your little feeps. The sandy beaches in Miami, I appreciated so much. But what is it that you do in North Carolina that inspires you to write songs? And you're very seamless. I want to get into 2 different things. The songs that you cover and the songs that you write, it's hard to decipher which one's which because you make them into Jennifer Alvarado songs. One of my go-to karaoke songs is 500 Miles. And I'll sing it like the Proclaimers. I'll sing it with a Scottish accent. When I wake up, I go, I know I'm going to be. But you slowed it down like it's postmodern jukebox. You made it into a Jennifer Alvarado song. And I know there's no box for you. I think one of your descriptions was country with a pop feel. I think that kind of sums it up a little bit because you have a lot of pop feel, but you can live in the country genre if you want to. I don't know. Is there any question in there somewhere? What are your thoughts?
I think because I love music. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. I grew up listening to everything from old country to gospel to, I went through a rap phase. I will say I am not a rapper. I will never be a rapper. I can pretty much bet on that. Like, I will never rap. My husband has told me many a time, please don't ever do that. He loves rap. He knows I will screw it up. But I think I was inspired by all of it. And then my mom, she loved classic rock. She loved the Eagles and Tom Petty and Chicago and all of that. And so I think, I feel like I had a piano teacher one time that said that I was like a sponge and I just wanted to absorb like everything and learn everything. And that's true. Like, I do, because I think the more you listen to, the more people you talk to, all those kind of things, the more you learn and the more you understand, hopefully, kind of humans. And I think for me, like, music's always been about understanding things that maybe we otherwise wouldn't talk about, or those awkward conversations, they're put into nice little packages that are more pleasing to the ears than having a heart-to-heart that neither person wants to talk about or whatever. And so I think that that's what music's always been for me. It's been a way of just pulling in all these different elements and kind of figuring it out. And so I think that that's why I sort of blend all these different things together, because it's what I know. I mean, if you looked at any of my mixed CDs as a kid or any of that, like, it's going to have 15 different genres of music all in one. And somehow, like, I feel like kind of that's what my show kind of consists of too when I do covers, because I'm like Tracy Chapman and then I'm like Johnny Cash and whatever. And I love that. And I think that somewhere in there, like you said, like, just like 500 Miles, I slowed it down and kind of made it mine. It's that same thing, because I think with any artist, they it's sort of like with songwriting. People will know it's one of my songs. It may sound completely different than the last one, but there's little elements in there that sort of guarantee it's one of my songs. And I think the same thing goes with covers that I do. There's some element in there that it's going to take on a little bit of me as the artist.
Yeah, I think people are going to appreciate the different genres when you play in your show. Whenever I DJ at a party, it's not just one type of music.
Yeah.
I'll play a country song and a rap song and a heavy metal song all in a row. And it's going to be something for everybody. If you don't like this song, you're going to like the next one. And if you don't like the next one, you're probably going to like the next one, because you're going to do your best to read that crowd, to learn what they want, and you're going to play what they want. Now, as a musician, I'm glad you got a good musical education from your mama. You mentioned the Eagles. One of the first three 8-track tapes that I owned was the Eagles' greatest hits. Now, this is back in 1975. Yes, way back in the 1900s. They made a greatest hits album. They hadn't even been around for 5-10 years. And people are asking them, why are you making a greatest hits album? You're still hot in the middle of your career. Well, they were like, well, we got a bunch of these songs that people seem to like, so let's put them all in one record. And me, as a DJ, I appreciated that, because buying albums, you would get a whole record and maybe 2, maybe 3 songs out of the 8 or 10 songs were any good. Unless it was Thriller, of course, where every song was great, or Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Every song is great. There's only a few perfect albums out there, and people strive to make those albums. But some people will come up with couple of good hits, and then write a few songs real quick just to fill out the album. And I know that was a problem for a while. And I don't know if you even remember or even know anything about the K-Tel records, where they would put together all these different types of songs, and you would get all these hits for $10 on a record album or a tape, a cassette tape, and you would have a bunch of hits, and it was like a company that would curate different, maybe Jennifer Alvarado was on there. And I know I used to get magazines that used to have different types of songs, new music. I was really into music. I still am, of course. That is my weekend job is going out and playing music. And this weekend, of course, I'm going to feature Jennifer Alvarado because you took the time to make music videos, and I'll put those up on the screen when I'm at the clubs. I have 2 public shows this weekend, and both public shows are going to feature Jennifer Alvarado. That's my job. It's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to break out artists. I'm supposed to make sure that people hear more new artists, new music. That way when people go, hey, who is that? And I'll say, oh, that's Jennifer Alvarado. Look her up. Hopefully more ears get on you. And that's our symbiotic relationship. Doing this podcast, hopefully you get a couple of more ears on your music. And people get to know what I know already, that you're great. You're great to go out to a show. I wish I lived closer to North Carolina. I would go to one of the shows. But do you stay only in North Carolina, or do you go all over the planet? Where's the farthest you've been?
The farthest has been, I'm gonna say California. I think California is the farthest. I did in 23. I did a route from like San Jose through Pacifica and down to LA, and I stopped at my last show was at the Viper Room, and then I flew back. And so I think that's the farthest. I want to say Texas is probably next, and then I've gone up through like Boston and stuff like that. So my plan for this year, because one of my goals is to play all 50 states. So, it's one of them things, My dog is choking over here. Sorry. He has wandered in here and is now choking.
Do you have to tend to him? No, take care of that puppy. I might get an appearance by one of my kitties. There's two cats running around here somewhere. But take care of that dog.
He's good. He's just letting me know he's here. So this year I'm adding Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Florida, Alabama to the list. I'm trying to find a show in Idaho right now. No, Idaho? No, Indiana. Sorry, not Idaho yet. And then next year I want to go possibly back to California for some shows, but I want to do the Four Corners with Nevada and New Mexico and that kind of thing. And at some point, probably next year, I'm going to go on up through the top of the East Coast and back down, just to get those in, and then do my spots that I have missed. So, yeah.
At the very least, I want to see a TikTok video of you on the Four Corners with your guitar.
That's what I want to do. Yeah, I actually want to do that. So I've already told my husband, like, that's one of the things I've got to do is stand there and just swirl. So, and say I've played all four of them at the same time.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Now, I've done a similar show. I followed a singles group across the country, but I haven't played north of the Mason-Dixon. I've been north of the Mason-Dixon, just barely, for like a day or so, but I have never played a show north of I-40. So I went across the 10, I went up 75, across the 10, down the 8, did shows through Texas, Arizona, San Diego, up to 5, and then up to 15 in Vegas and Colorado. I remember a lot of different shows going all around there, and I thought that was so amazing to go and play for different people and meet different kinds of people. But people are people all over the place, and they all want to be entertained. Music, it's so universal. And, so in your repertoire, you've been doing this at least 12 years as far as the YouTube says that you've been doing this professionally, right? But in all that time.
So I will say I didn't really, I don't feel like, half the time I don't feel like a professional now. I'll be honest.
It's called imposter syndrome.
It is.
And creators and of all kinds have it. But you're great. You're doing just fine.
So I put my first album out I guess my first single came out in 2014. And my first album came out in 2015. And it was all contemporary Christian. But at that point in time, I really was not doing shows. I've been a worship leader for most of my life. So I don't feel, I know that it kind of goes with the performance aspect, but I've always tried to keep it separate. Like when I'm worshiping, and that's that. And that's what that focus is. And so I've never wanted to pull that into a performance. So with that said, it wasn't until probably 2021 that I really went into the country stuff full time, and started performing out and gigging and all of that. And then, 2020, nobody did anything. So 2021, it was summer of 2021 when I really started going out and playing shows and pursuing this full time. So I will say, I feel like that's when I maybe became a professional, somewhere in that time span. I think before then I was just trying to figure out my sound and songwriting and what I was doing. Because honestly, at that point in time, my focus and goal was, I'm going to do worship. Like I'm gonna do worship leading, and that's what I'm gonna do. And 2018. Sorry, I'm getting choked up. 2018 was just a really difficult year of things were not panning out the way I thought they were supposed to with worship leading, and so I took a different job that was about 2 hours away from home. Where I became a worship director and was trying to figure that out. And then by 2020, everything changed. And it was during 2020 that I was stuck at home because churches and everything were closed, for the most part, that I was like, I at least want to try to do something with this country stuff, because up until then it was just on a shelf. Like, I'd put it on the shelf and was like, that's a different life, like, whatever. And I think 2020 just made a lot of people think about things in a different way, of like, if this is the end, like, are you going to have regrets? Are you going to, and honestly, yeah, I would have, because I never gave myself the chance to really try anything. And so that's when I started putting stuff out, and it kind of took a life of its own. And then I decided to step away from the job I was at to focus more on this and actual music full time. So yeah, I would say it hasn't been maybe 5 years that I've really been doing this.
Well, Jennifer, you keep an open mind. You've broken out of that genre. I can name let's see, like Amy Grant and
Yes.
Katy Perry. They both started about where you were, but they're I don't know how integral their faith is now, because it seems like they've broken out. But then Prince went way into his career. He became a Jehovah's Witness, and
Yeah.
really he couldn't sing Purple Rain. He couldn't sing a lot of the songs off of Purple Rain because it was so zealot. And I guess I have been a zealot, but my faith has really kind of expanded, to where I don't know. I don't know if there's anything out there. I don't know. Is your faith still strong? Is this still part of you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a worship leader. Like, I still do that on Sundays. That's one reason that I try to be close to North Carolina, at least semi-close, so I can get back for worship on Sunday mornings, because I'm still doing that. And just like, I still go into the prisons and stuff like that, and do Celebrate Recovery with them. I did a Celebrate Recovery service last night. Like, that stuff is always, my faith is always going to be, I pray, like, that's my goal, is that faith will always be like the biggest part of my life. I just had a hard time trying to promote my songwriting and everything else doing the Christian music stuff, because I felt like two things. I feel like there's so much more to life than just this small, not small, but this focus right here. And so my bigger thing is, like, can I go into other places, and hopefully by my witness and the way I act and whatever, people do see my faith, and they do see a Christian, and they do see Jesus, and that I otherwise wouldn't meet just in the four walls of the church. And so, like, that's been the biggest part of why I do want to go out. 'Cause I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a drinker. I'm not a bar goer or anything like that. And so that part has been probably the hardest for me. And two, I'm an introvert. And so by the end of the weekend, I am tapped out. I'm like, I got to take a nap. But I love people, and I want to love people, and I want to make sure that they know that they are cared for. And so I think that is part of my faith, is to care enough about them to want to go out and kind of put myself out there and say, hey, like, here's a song. I don't know. And to be able to tell other people's stories that may feel like they've been forgotten or whatever. Like, honestly, that's been my biggest goal with my music, is to hopefully give somebody a voice that otherwise they feel like nobody understands, whether it be a hurt or something that's happened in life or whatever the case may be. Because that's what music was for me. I would come home and feel like nobody understood what I was going through, and then I would hear a song, and it was like, oh, they get it. They understand, like, and you feel like you're seen finally. And so I think if I can help one person feel seen with something I've written, then my job's done.
Well, staying in one genre, any genre, limits you as an artist. I'm
It
sure
does.
you have
It does.
a lot of fun, a lot of good feeling when you do your. I guess you're doing music on Sundays when you're when you're leading worship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
all faith
all worship
based
music.
worship
Yeah.
music. Is it
Sunday mornings.
out of the hymnal, or is it stuff from
I
Striper
have
and Jars of
all-
Clay and?
It's contemporary Christian, so like Bethel, Hillsong, that kind of stuff is more of what we do because we're more contemporary. But I've been a worship pastor at a church where it was all out of a hymnal. I led a choir and it was all out of a hymnal, and yeah. So I mean, that's I do that Sunday mornings, and then Sunday afternoons I go sing at a bar. So
Are you playing your guitar as well?
Mm-hmm.
In the church?
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yep.
cool. Well, as many bars as I perform at as well, I don't drink. I don't smoke.
Yeah.
I eat too much, which is why I'm so fat. Why am I so fat? No. I've never drank. I had a half a beer one time and I passed out. So I'm no good at it. And I don't smoke. I never have. I do like people watching. I do like seeing
I love
people
people
come in
watching.
to the bar. Hey, we're here having a good time. All right. And then 4 hours later, hey, good time.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yep. Yep.
Take me
no,
home.
people watch all the time while I'm singing. I'm sitting there making mental notes. Like, I'm like, that could be a song. Yeah, we could write about that. I mean, I've written songs about places I've played, and interactions I've had. And yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorite things. That's honestly what helped me start songwriting. My grandmother and I would sit in a parking lot at another idea. Somehow my text messages have linked to my computer now. That's
You're so
great.
popular.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But yeah, so we would sit in a parking lot at the mall, and like my grandmother and I would people watch and make up stories. And I feel like that's where songwriting sort of came from, was I was able to make up these stories, and then, now I make up stories of people I watch at the bar as I sing, like, whatever.
Yeah, that's something I do with my buddy, and I've done it with my wife as well. Just making up stories about people. Just mostly it's on my side. She doesn't like my shenanigans most of the time, but I think she's funnier than I am for sure. But you being in the faith, does it affect? You mentioned rock and roll, you mentioned rap, and you will rap at one point, even if you steal somebody's rap. My favorite rapper is Heavy D, so I always go, whatever happens, whatever may come, whatever maybe it's cool. I got it covered, beloved, from A to Z. I'm the overweight lover. It's Heavy D, that kind of. So you could steal a rap, you could borrow a rap, and I want to hear you do a rap on one of your YouTube videos, maybe an Iggy Azalea, maybe clean it up a little bit. But I was going to say. With your faith, does that affect your songwriting? Do you feel that you limit yourself? You say, you know what? I can't write about that. And no, that dirty word's not going to be in there. And no.
I will say that, yes, I think that it has, there's certain things I don't want to talk about or just put out there. If a song needs a certain word, then I have put it in. I don't put it in just to throw in a word and be like, oh, she said that. Like, because I think that sometimes with music, it gets to a place of like, it's a shock factor. And so I don't ever want to just do something because I want eyes to look at me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that just feels cheap in a lot of ways. That sounds bad, but it does. But yeah, there's topics that I don't necessarily want I definitely don't want to sing about and put out there as me singing them. Like, I've written songs that maybe I would pitch to somebody else, but and I think that that's the thing too, is knowing sort of what you want your focus to look like and what you want your brand to look like and your message versus, hey, you may write this song with 2 other people and you pitch it to somebody else who's more, who leans more toward that kind of music or whatever. Like, just like a lot of drinking songs. I'm not a drinker. I don't feel like I can sell that. And so I've written drinking songs. Probably won't sing them. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, I probably won't. Like, I will pitch it to somebody else. And, oh, no, sorry. But yeah, I definitely, I think, and I think too, I never want my music to be, I want there to be some element of hope in it. Something for people to lean on to some degree, because otherwise that was the one thing I was afraid of with the Songbird album. Oh my gosh, y'all, please stop. How do I turn this off?
What I'm hearing from you is that there's a struggle. If you want to write a song, there is a limit to it. There is, and I don't want you to have limits that you don't put on yourself. Yeah. Taylor Swift, she had a contract. Her album, her record producer said, "Oh, you need to have at least 2 country songs," and she wasn't feeling country songs at that particular moment in time, which is why she kind of broke out from what her representation was, and that's just one example of someone who had limits thrust upon her. But if you're going to have any limits, I want Jennifer Alvarado to put those limits on you if you want. You know, I don't curse that much. Occasionally, if I'm talking to my daughter who's got a filthy mouth, but no, she's okay. But sometimes, you know, I gotta like punch back at her. But when I was a firefighter, you know, I had the firefighting helmet, I would get together with my boys and we would curse like sailors or like firefighters, I guess. You know, men's get together. But it's not my forte. It's not what I like. I've been on the radio since '86. That's way back in the 1900s. So I had to curb my language. Stop cursing. And it's not good for you. Nobody wants to hear it. It's good for your soul. I have 2 public shows, like I said, on Friday nights. Friday nights I'm at the Rab, and it's over 21. So people sing karaoke and they sing whatever they want. As filthy, as dirty as they want. Some of them will go in there just to celebrate, you know, how bad they can curse. And if that's how you have to unwind for the weekend, hey, I'll put up with it for 3 minutes or so. But then my Saturday show is all ages. Now, occasionally, I'll have somebody come in and they'll filth the place up. And I go, hey, see that little girl over there? She don't need to hear that. She don't need to hear that.
And that's one thing that I do. Like, I watch and see who's in there, because especially if kids are in there, there's just certain things I do not want to expose them to. And that's my prerogative. Like, I feel like that's my prerogative and I've had requests and I'm like, I will sing that later when, you know, certain people leave, because, and I've even asked the question to parents before, like, hey, are you okay if I sing this song and say this word? And they're like, yeah. But I don't want to do that without, I guess, asking before I do it. Like, you know, I want to, because I feel like I want everybody to have a good time. And just like you said, like, people can come in and fill the place up, but as long as I have some say in it, like, I want to keep it grounded to some degree. So,
well, like it or not, Jennifer, you're going to be a role model. If there's a little girl or even a little boy in that audience, they're going to want to come up and talk to you. And if you invite them up on stage to say hello, or if you go meet and greet them after the show, they are going to be so inspired. I look at, I had guitars. They've gotten stolen. I couldn't play 3 notes on there. I knew power chords. I knew a few tectonic, what do they call them, scales. I knew some blues chords. You know, I could play little licks here and there, but I was never all that good. I have well, I got to say ukulele because I talked to a Hawaiian guy on the podcast, and if I say ukulele, he'll virtually bust me in the nose. So
Okay.
I have an ukulele back there and a harmonica, and there's a full piano out there. I can't play them. I can't play them at all, but I'm in awe of you playing your guitar and even being confident enough to go in front of hundreds, maybe thousands of people and play for them. You have that confidence. You say you're an introvert, but when you play your music, you're extroverted. You're out there. You're putting yourself out there. How does that feel? And do you know how to read music? I always got to ask that of my musicians when they come on the podcast, because a good more than 80% of them, and this is just a number that I pulled out of my nethers, but most of them don't know how to read music. Are you classically trained?
So yes, I did take classical voice, and I was classically trained with voice, and I also took piano, and I also had to take like sight reading.
What's sight reading?
So sight reading is where like you're given music and basically you're told sing this, and you've never seen it before, and so you have to just kind of pick it out. And also, I had years of choir. So for the most part, yes, I can read music. I haven't really had to in years because, you learn songs. And so like I hear what the song's supposed to be and I play it, and, or I have the chords, and so I read a lot of chord charts at this point, and it's just like whatever. But, yeah, I still can read music and for piano and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, I'm guessing there's programs that if you play music, the programs will automatically make music sheets out for you. So if you are collaborating with someone else, you can give them sheet music. Am I right in that? Do you use any of that?
I don't. Usually what I do is just like with my band, for example, if I've written a new song, I send them the work tape and I send them the chord chart and I say, here. And, especially with a lead guitar player, I just kind of let him decide what he wants to do. And we kind of work together and then like in the studio, like my producer and I, like we figure out that kind of stuff. But, yeah, for the most part, I would say most musicians are reading chord charts at this point. Like that's what they do or the number system. The Nashville number system is really, that is kind of the standard. But yeah, I still pick up sheet music, especially like when I was doing choir. Like, yeah, that's how you had to learn parts, was the sheet music. So.
Now, most of the videos that I see, you're doing a lot of solo stuff. How often do you get your band and take them on the road? And does your band have a name? And who are the people in the band? Shout outs.
So my friend John was my drummer for a while. And he had some health scares and stuff like that. I know I'm getting the most random stuff. Anyway, but he had some health scares, so I've been doing trio stuff, and honestly, it's Jennifer Alvarado Trio. Like I am not creative. I do not have a band name. At some point, if we are touring more, then yes, I will create a band name, and you will be the first to know what it is. But right now, it's Jennifer Alvarado Trio, and my guitar player, his name is Bryson Brown, and then my cajon player, and sometimes he'll do like bass, and sometimes he fills in for guitar too, and he also does duo work with me, is Mike Wismunski. Yeah, they're honestly, I've met both of them through worship and needed people, and I was like, hey, will you mind playing? And so that's what we do. And so I'm trying to think. We probably do maybe, I probably do one or two trio shows a quarter. The problem is so many places are so small at this point. Like their area is so small that, and two, both of them have full-time jobs. So like it's hard for them to travel with me. So at some point I do need to figure out like if I'm going to be doing festivals and all that further away, I've got to figure out a team to go. But right now that's what's working and that's what we're going to stick with.
Yeah, you being the front person, I could see you going across the country and maybe even around the world and picking up musicians here and there. Because any seasoned musician can probably pick it up. There's a lot of studios that have their own hired guns, is what they call them in there, that they'll play for you. And yes, it is hard to get 2 or 3 people to get on a schedule, to get on a plane, to get in a bus and go across the country. It's hard. It's hard to do. Now, you did mention the husband. Does he go around around the world with you?
He tries to go as many places as he can. He has a full-time job. He is my support at home. He makes sure that our fur children are well taken care of. So he goes, like when I go on these long trips, usually he goes with me. But for the most part, especially when I'm back and forth to Nashville, no, he doesn't go. I have friends that I stay with in Portland, north of Nashville. That's where I stay like every time I go. So I live part-time basically in Portland. And I'm just back and forth. And so I would say he maybe goes 15% of the time with me to stuff. I mean, I don't know. We pass like ships in the night.
Yeah, my wife's been to a handful of shows, but she's my number one employee. She's my CFO for my corporation. Yeah. So without her, this whole thing would fall apart. So and she's not one to really want to go out. Occasionally, she'll go to a show, and whenever she shows up, people are like, "Hey, he does have a wife. She is real." But when you go to Nashville, do you have people that you know that you could stay with that can keep you safe at least?
Oh yeah. So I live part-time in Portland, which is north of Nashville. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I stay. And yeah, I mean, we've known them for years upon years, and that's who I stay with, and have a room there, and yeah.
Do you play on Broadway at all?
I have. That is not my favorite place to play. I prefer pretty much anywhere else. I'm just not, I think one thing that I love about Nashville is there's so many different little areas. I love Printer's Alley because it still feels nostalgic and it still feels like you're going back 40 years ago or 50 years ago, and I just don't like the hustle and all that of Broadway. And two, like most of those places, like you have an exact list of what you're supposed to play, which honestly I play most of those in my shows anyway. But I don't know. I don't have that draw to want to even attempt to go play there on a regular basis. No,
when you go to Nashville, do you go primarily to get in the studio and record things, or are you playing shows, or is it 50-50?
I go for writing, and then yes, usually I have shows. So I have shows like all over Tennessee, like Murfreesboro. I have shows in Nashville, like Midtown, and sort of like I've had shows in the Gulch. I'm trying to think where else in Nashville. Just all over Nashville, but usually like Murfreesboro, Hendersonville, Ashland City, Franklin. Franklin's really good to go play. So just all over. but that's sort of more of what I want to be doing, because it allows you to actually play some originals too in your set. You're not as, like, it's not as strict to say, hey, you can only do these. And so I like that freedom of being able to throw some originals in, and because that's what I want to pursue is my stuff. And I feel like sometimes with the Broadway circuit, you get kind of in the habit of just covers, and you get out of sync of your own stuff and really being able to pursue your own stuff.
Yeah, I've got to get out to Nashville. I've been to Memphis to go visit with the King, and kind of an Elvis fan. But yeah, I guess I've been through on 40. You know, went through, but I never stopped. I think my mother and my stepfather have gotten a place pretty close to there, so I guess I could stay with them and then go see a Jennifer Alvarado show whenever you're out there. Now, I did mention that I'm half Cuban from Miami. Where's Alvarado? Where does that come from? Do you have Spanish roots? Can you speak Spanish?
I can probably say like the colors and the days of the week. That's about it. I can count to 10. So my father-in-law is actually from Costa Rica. So I was a Miller. I married Alvarado. My husband, his mom is from here, but his dad is originally from Costa Rica. And so Alvarado is Costa Rican.
So he speaks Spanish.
Most definitely, yes.
Very good. Maybe you can write a Spanish song with him. You'll blow minds.
I could try. I don't know that I would pronounce it correctly, but yes, I could try.
Dime cuando tú eras. Dime cuando. You just do some of those old favorites that Tito Puente or something did way back when. Celia Cruz. I could, man, you blow minds. You'll blow minds. I know you have a cajon player, and that's you're halfway there. As long as you got the backbeat and maybe a little scritch.
Okay, you can do that.
All right, let's wind this thing down. We've been talking for almost an hour. I've learned a little bit about you. We've only really scratched the surface, though. But we got an idea of who Jennifer Miller Alvarado is. And anybody that peruses your Facebook page, which I will have in the show notes, all the links to all your various social meds. But the Facebook has a really nice picture of where you're going to be for the next month or so.
Yes.
Fantastic. You took the time. Now, is that all you, or do you have a team that's coming up with your social media stuff?
That would be me.
Wow. You're very talented.
Sometimes my husband. Sometimes my husband's like, here, you need a graphic here. And I'm like, okay, thanks. But yeah, for the most part, I am me. I am doing it.
Is you and he the team, or do you have other people that are helping you along the way?
I do have a publicist, and well, I've had a publicist for the past month, so she has been great. But yeah, like my team is basically me, and then I pull my husband in on some things. But yeah, it's basically me.
Well, hopefully that gets you to the next level.
Producer.
I'm sorry, say.
And then of course my producer. Like I've had the same producer for well over 10 years at this point.
Shout out. Credits where credit is due. Tell him.
His name's Ricky. His name's Ricky Rodriguez. He's in Morganton, which is like 30 minutes from where I live in North Carolina. And he's got a Bomb House Studios is the business, but
BOMB or BAUM?
BOMB, like
Ooh.
a bomb.
Wow, very what is it? Dangerous in this time. Don't say bomb. Don't say bomb. Bomb, bomb, bomb. You'll get on a list.
And just like that,
we're on a list.
Got cut.
No, but you have Ricky. What's his name?
Rodriguez.
Ricky Rodriguez. I like the alliteration. That's beautiful.
Ricky Rod. He goes by Ricky Rod, basically.
Ruby Rod was the Fifth Element. Chris Tucker.
Okay,
Ruby
okay.
Rod. Yeah, he was Chris Tucker had that character name, but I like the alliteration. All right. Any other shout outs you want to give as we wind this thing down?
Yeah, so I actually had a different producer on My Daddy Doesn't Like You. His name is Jesse Savio, and he's with Savio Productions in Nashville. So just wanted to try like a different sound a little bit, and probably we'll be working with him again soon. So yeah, but yeah, I think that it's cool to like go in and work with different producers because you never know what'll happen. And
I
it
know
gets you out of your element. Like it really does. It gets you out of your element of like, because Ricky and I, at this point, I can go in and just be like, I hear this, this, and this. And he's like, okay, got it. And like, we're just so in sync. And so to have to like explain stuff to somebody new, it gets you out of that like, that comfortable kind of thing where you try new things and you're not afraid to try new things. So
I read the story about the picture in Daddy's Daddy Doesn't Like You. Explain to the listener, what is that?
So there was a picture that I took when I was 7 years old. We were on vacation in Carson City, Nevada, at a ghost town. Virginia City is what it was. And I took a picture of my father because I was all into photography with my little camera at the time. And all it is his belly and his mustache, because that was my view. Like, that's what I saw. So, and he hated that picture. And so I felt like, what better picture to use to promote this song that's all about him hating my husband than this picture that he couldn't stand. And so my husband actually designed the cover, and so it looks like a really like scary video game almost, but yeah, that's where the picture's from.
Hilarious. All right, I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. As time progresses, if you have other stuff that you want to promote, you come on back anytime you want, Jennifer Alvarado. I've had a wonderful time talking to you, but I always finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by. This could be a mantra you heard a long time ago, maybe something you wake up with every morning and look in the mirror, or whatever pops into your head. Jennifer Miller Alvarado, give the last words for the people.
I am less afraid of failure than living with regret.
Well, there you have it, party people. Jennifer Alvarado. What a cool lady. So nice and so talented. Make sure you check out her website at jenniferalvarado.com. And, of course, check out all the social links in the show notes and follow her around. Stalk her, my listener. Yeah, find out more about Jennifer Alvarado and find out where she's going to be. If you're in the North Carolina area, that's a sure chance that you're going to get to go to a Jennifer Alvarado show. And maybe you'll catch her in the Nashville area, somewhere around Murfreesboro or Portland. I guess there was a Portland north of Nashville, but you won't be on Broadway. I know, I've talked to a lot of musicians that go to Nashville and they don't like Broadway. It's too packed and too limiting. I think they do have to have a certain playlist that they go by. So there's very few places that allow original music. You have to go in there and play off of this song. I mean, it might be an extensive playlist, could be about 200, 300 songs, but you have to play those songs, stay within those parameters, and you can't go outside of it. And maybe that's just the rules of the bars and restaurants on Broadway in Nashville. But outside, off-Broadway, I guess they call it off-Broadway in Nashville, but you have less limitations and you can play your own stuff. But she goes out there for songwriting. I guess she collaborates with people. So exciting. Thank you so much, Jennifer Alvarado, for being on the podcast. I appreciate it. That concludes this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, yes, you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email KeysDAN at AOL.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.